All right, so car rates have gone from 2% all the way up to 10%. So exotic car financing certainly has changed. In today's episode here at Exotic Car Hacks, we're going to be talking about what are some of the things that have changed in the exotic car financing industry, and more importantly, how you can still stay ahead of the game despite these rates going up. Now, historically, we know that rates have always been higher until the last 10 years or the last decade, where they have basically been lower since the 2008 crisis to try to get momentum and boost the economy, right? And the markets have kind of stayed the way they were. They never went back up. So we know a healthy car loan rate is anywhere from 5 to 8% historically, but banks have basically spoiled us to having 1 to 3% for over a decade, right? So now that we're going past that and even higher, it has started to scare some people. So we're going to look at that and much more. Don't forget that Exotic Car Hacks, we are here to teach you all the ins and outs of getting into exotic cars without losing money, all the loopholes you didn't know existed, and more importantly, all of the myths we're debunking about the industry and things that have prevented normal day-to-day people from affording these cars. If you want to learn more about hacking cars, simply click the link in the description. It'll take you to a free 1-hour training, and I'm going to break all of this down for you on how car hacking can literally change your life. And for those of you that are ready to actually own your exotic, we have an incredible community to join also in the bio, where you can actually join the Exotic Car Hacks community and join over 20,000 plus people doing this from their home. So anyways, let's get into exotic car financing and what you need to know. So today's rate may seem pretty scary. 8 to 12% are things that people are talking about on the internet as we search, and that is a pretty big number, but that is not the number that you need to be focusing on right now. As a matter of fact, there are still plenty of banks right now and credit unions, you ready for this, offering 5 to 7% on most car loans up to 84 months. Now, of course, there are places that are more specialized financing going all the way up to 144, and those rates are significantly higher, like Lamborghini Financial, Porsche Financial, and of course, like places like Woodside Credit. Those individual places have started raising rates significantly because they offer a very specialized product, and their risk factors are going up since obviously more people are defaulting and more people are not in a position to afford huge payments or put large down payments, again creating a little bit of a risk factor for them. So if you've looked for specialized financing, then that is indeed a problem. Now, previously you've heard me even on this channel talk about the problems around leasing exotic cars. Now, not leasing directly from the manufacturer, which I hate and I think is a complete abomination, but in addition to that, just leasing from third-party companies like Amazon Leasing, Putnam Leasing, and other individuals who sell leasing programs specifically for exotic cars. Now, previously, while leasing does not have a rate, the fees, etc., for leasing would make a regular purchase feel like 7 to 8% interest. And while leasing had significant tax benefits and things for the majority of people, 7 to 8% in a 1 to 2% rate environment, not so good. In today's rate environment, as it stands right now, as rates have not skyrocketed on the leasing side yet, this is pretty much in par. The fee structure is pretty much in par with today's basic 5 to 8% loans. So it isn't that bad of an option today. Things may change, but as of today, we are back in a system where it seems like leasing directly from these third-party companies make sure that you obviously know who they are, if they're amortizing your loan, and can clearly give you a payoff so they're not just floating a title somewhere. But the correct leasing company, again, may seem like a decent option in this incredibly bizarre rate environment. Some things you'll need to consider that you didn't have to previously that you have to now. So most banks will want some skin in the game. Usually they want 5 to 10%. Specialized places want roughly about 20%. So this is the gap, 5 to 20%. Now, in addition to that, they're going to take LTV levels, loan to value, meaning they're going to take a much lower dollar on that. So typically in a high or good strong economy, banks will raise that, doing up to 150% of LTV. But in a down environment, they'll go up to 80, maybe 90% of LTV, requiring a much bigger down payment. Because again, just because banks have lowered their thresholds does not mean that the pricing of the market has completely gotten killed here. Like, we have to consider the fact that while there are still short supply issues, there are some cars that are now significantly still much more expensive than it should be, and there are cars that are going to require a heavier down payment. I mean, we saw this and how they got crushed with G-Wagons, right? I told you guys not to buy G-Wagons back a year and a half ago. People didn't listen, they started buying G-Wagons. I told you guys that Ursas were risky if they weren't brand new and at sticker 2 years ago. Again, people didn't listen. So these types of cars we knew historically would be worth less. So when they had huge premiums on them, we knew that wasn't going to be sustainable. But the LTVs here, banks have changed this. So they're no longer financing 250 grand on a 180K G-Wagon. So this mentality that even though the G-Wagon might now be 190 grand used, and the bank would only lend probably about 150 on that same model, you'll need to put a significantly larger down payment for certain cars over others simply based on the LTV. Now, some things that have started to shift a little bit also with the banking side of things and credit unions, etc. More docs. This is something they kind of walked away from the last couple of years, of course, because of a good, healthy spending economy, meaning people were spending like crazy. So more docs now. They're going to need 2 years tax returns. They're going to need your last pay stubs, things like that they used to forfeit a little bit and have softened on. So what can you do, or what makes sense? Well, there's a few things you need to consider. The first one is, again, get the Exotic Car Hacks course so you'll learn in detail the best strategy that works for you based on the specific vehicle you're looking at. The link is in the description. Secondly, make sure you take a look at your leasing options as much as your credit union options right now, because those are going to be your stronger rates in the market. Make sure you check the LTV on the car you're specifically looking at. If there are still significant markups on that car, it is going to be very counterproductive, or need to go through a specialized lender that is going to charge you a much higher interest rate between 10 and 12%. So consider that, and that will help you narrow down the correct path to the correct car. As an example, it's very easy to basically finance right now a Huracan or a 570S Spider at a good rate and keep driving it and enjoying it and still hack your way through that. However, let's say you wanted to finance something that was just still hot on the other side, but not so much to the banks, like maybe you wanted a new GT3 RS at 200K over sticker. Those are the kinds of cars you're going to be very worried about and very problematic, or that they're going to be very problematic for the bank. That just isn't going to be a match unless you match that with some significant down payment money. But do look at some of these leasing options. There are great deals to be had right now on cars. Incredible, really good models from Lamborghini, Ferrari, Aston Martin, and Porsche that have gotten significant discounts over where they were last year and have hit pre-2020 levels, which is, again, very sustainable and the way the market should have always been. Hopefully you learned something new. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll catch you next time on Exotic Car Hacks. My name is Pejman Gadimi, and I teach people how to drive exotics for free. Let's look here at how this Huracan can cost as little as $300 a month.